Hey, thanks for tuning in. In the last devotional that I sent out, I talked about how God has given us the way to walk, right? It's just this walk in simple obedience to the Spirit, to walk by the Spirit, and you will not fulfill the lustful desires of the flesh. And so today I thought I'm just going to add on to that. Um, and remind you, what does it look like? You see, um, I grew up in a fairly religious Catholic home, and then when I went to university, I was born again, and then my wife and I started going to different churches, and we got married, and we were in a church as I was working, and they were a smaller church, and all of a sudden, they were really working with us, and all of a sudden, they were giving us the things that we needed to do as good Christians, and over the years, we were discipled, I would say, as how to be a good Christian. And in our group, there was a long list of things that good Christians didn't do. Good Christians don't drink and smoke or dance or chew or go with the girls who do. We had certain dress codes, right? There was, I think, I'm not sure why, but there was some prohibition about men having facial hair. And I remember another thing when we were missionaries, someone said, it was against wire rim glasses. And it kind of got crazy after a while, right? Like, good Christians do this, good Christians don't do that. And I started thinking about that. And I started thinking, we have some pretty strange ideas about what it looks like to be a good Christian. Well, here's the deal, friends. When we're walking by the Spirit, our life is going to look like Jesus. And that's really what Paul tells the Galatians in the bottom part of that chapter 5 that we looked at a few days ago. We all know what the flesh looks like. The flesh is self-serving. He has quite the list. I mean, it's pretty exhaustive. The flesh is evident. It's about sexual immorality. It's about impurity. It's about sensuality and idolatry and sorcery and enmity and strife and jealousy and fits of anger, rivalries, fighting, dissensions, and the list goes on and on. We know what the flesh looks like. It's self-serving. It's selfish. But in verse 22 of Galatians 5, he says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. And against such things there is no law. And those who belong to Christ Jesus have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. And if we live by the Spirit, let us also keep in step with the Spirit. Well, friends, I want to encourage you to resist every temptation to live by a set of rules, to think that you need to have a certain set of religious standards or follow certain prohibitions or admonitions from some church or one group or another. And I want you to live in the freedom for which Jesus set you free, to live in a responsive relationship to the indwelling life of God. And you can be confident that as you walk in the Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit will begin to be manifest in your actions and your attitudes. It's going to look like Jesus. It's going to look like love and joy and peace and patience and gentleness and kindness and goodness and self-control. Because this is all how Christ manifests himself as he lives through us. It's not a life that we produce, it's a life that he expresses through us. Now, I remember many years ago, I was reading a book on the fruit of the Spirit, and each chapter was on one of the fruit. And you kind of memorize certain verses, and then you would memorize those verses and focus and determine to get that part of the fruit in your life during that week. It didn't work for me. I don't think it's going to work for you, because it's not the fruits of the Spirit. It's the fruit of the Spirit. It is the expression of the indwelling life of God. It's not one thing. It's all of those things, because Jesus is love, and he is our joy. He is our peace and our patience, our kindness and goodness, our faithfulness, our gentleness, our self-control. You see, it comes right back to the last verse where he says, walk in step with the Spirit. When we're walking in step with the Spirit, it is inevitable that the fruit of the Spirit will be manifest. Fruit is not something we manufacture or make happen. It's something that is produced through us. The fruit of the Spirit and all of these manifestations will become evident as we walk in step with his indwelling life, as we yield ourselves to his presence, so that he who gave his life for us might live his life through us. And then he says in there in verse 24, don't forget this, and those who belong to Christ Jesus have, it's already done, crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. That's not something we do. That's something he does to us. You see, he took us to the cross to die for us and as us. And he took all that we were in Adam to the cross, all that we were as sinners. We are no longer debtors to the flesh. We've been set free. We've been set free from selfish, self-centered, self-pleasing action and life. And now we're free to experience our full potential as the beloved children of God, walking in step. So I want to encourage you. Don't make any resolutions that you're never going to do this or you're going to start doing that. Simply stay in step with the indwelling presence of Jesus in you, and love will begin to flow, and joy will begin to flow. And maybe you're sitting there going, yeah, I don't have much patience. You don't have to have any patience. You simply say, Lord, you are right now my patience, all that I will ever need, because you are my life. And I yield myself that you might live through me. Well, I know that's a lot. Meditate on it, think about it, pass it on, encourage someone else. Love you.